If you've been injured in an accident and you believe that your health is the most important, if you've been injured in an accident and you believe that your health is the most important thing in the world to you, then we're here to help you. My name's David Eltringham of the Eltringham Law Group. And at ELG, everything that we do is about helping our clients to restore their health and heal from their injuries. I believe that if you don't have your health, you don't have anything, and all the money in the world doesn't matter. So if you've been injured and you want a law firm that actually cares about you, getting you better, and then getting you the financial justice that you deserve, we're the right firm for you. At ELG, we dream of a world with no accidents, but until then, we're here to help you.
The Encore Boca Raton Rehabilitation and Nursing Center, formerly known as Whitehall Boca Raton, is a warm and close-knit subacute care and nursing community that has been serving the Tri-County area for over 35 years. The Encore Boca Raton's stellar rehabilitation program significantly enriches the health and well-being of patients by delivering specialized therapies to return you rapidly back on your feet. Our patient-centered comprehensive nursing and rehabilitation programs include neurology, orthopedics, cardiac and pulmonary care, post-operative surgical care, and outpatient therapies. With spacious therapy gyms, elegant dining, beautiful private and semi-private suites, and an array of comfort-enhancing services and amenities, patients enjoy high-caliber, proactive care in an encouraging and vibrant setting. The Encore at Boca Raton accepts Medicare and other major insurances. Located on West Palmetto and Power Line, call 561-392-3000 to schedule your personal tour. That's 561-392-3000, or visit theencoreatboca.com for more information today. The Encore at Boca Raton is a proud member of the Care Right Centers Network.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Do you have a hot new business or an established business that offers great and unique services or products that you want to get the word out? Are you looking to grow your business and you want everyone to hear the buzz about it? Do you have an amazing project or an idea that impacts our community that you want to share and get others involved in? Then you've come to the right place. You're listening to Community Connections with Norma G. I'm your host, occupational therapist Norma Guerrero, and I want to share our passions while connecting with our community. So now let's get ready to hear about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening on Community Connections with Norma G. Give us a call at 888-565-1470 and join our conversation. To something I enjoy.
I guess this is up.
Yes, welcome back to Community Connections. Today is Monday, February 26th, and I am your host, Norma Guerrero, and I'm happy to be here with you all once again. I wanted to pick up a little bit where we left off last week with the event that's been happening here in South Florida, and as well as across the entire nation, what happened over at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas on February 14th. And I mentioned last week about that fundraiser that was at Frank and Dino's restaurant here locally in East Boca, because the owner's two sons go to that high school. And I'm happy to say that it was a really, really, really nice turnout. His friends were there. A lot of the boys were there. And it was great to be around them. And I know that they raised a lot of money. And so I just want to thank Frank and Dino's for reaching out to the community and opening up your restaurant for everyone last night. It was a really... It was a nice time just to be around everyone and give an opportunity for people to talk and share, including myself. And so just wanted to just mention that once again. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but I want to introduce our first couple guests that we're going to have today, or at least let you know who's going to be on the show. We have David Eltringham with the Eltringham Law Group, who is going to be here today, and we're going to be talking about actually a variety of subjects. We're going to be talking about the Stoneman Douglas event, as well as we'll see if we have enough time to get into his purple cow theory. That's a little bit interesting.
But it doesn't seem quite as important.
No, it doesn't in the grand scheme of things. Let me lean towards the microphone.
Okay.
So, and then we're going to have a little later on in the show, we're going to have Dr. Zaki Moyenda, and he is a hospitalist locally here in South Florida. And we're going to be talking about his role of how he assists the various physicians in the community that have their patients as a primary care or an internist, et cetera, and how he receives those patients in the hospitals here in Broward and Palm Beach County, and how he manages their care and helps bring that continuity of care between the physician and what's happening in the hospital. So looking forward to spending some time with him and learning about that. So he is with the the Tuskegee Health Institute. He's the founder and chief medical officer. So we're going to learn a little bit more about that in the second half of the show. And so, David, so nice to have you here again.
Thank you.
This is
Thank you
our
for having
fifth
me.
installment here that we're going to be talking about your practice and your heart and how you've kind of opened up your practice this year to this ELG Gives.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm
we
gonna give
touched
you all
on
your
we touched on like a little
Yeah,
bit of it, but we
and-
didn't really get to
yeah,
the time.
we were talking about that you've gotten involved with the anti-bullying initiative as well as accidental drowning.
Correct.
So we can talk about that, but since we saw each other last, this major event happened in our community and to the nation at large. And what are your thoughts?
I'm not thinking as a lawyer right now. I'm thinking more as a dad, a member of the community. I happen to have been good friends with Fred Gutenberg, who lost his daughter Jamie, and I think more than anything else, what's occurred to me is this is really even more personal than 9/11 on some level. I mean, for me, incredibly, I grew up in New York, but somehow yet I didn't really know anybody who was killed in that attack all those years ago. But now this is just so much more personal. Like I have a real tangible connection.
Yeah.
I was in a business group with Fred Gutenberg for a couple years, and we sat together pretty much every Tuesday for lunch. And the thing that really strikes me is that girl was his universe. And we would talk about our daughters. And,
Sure.
and I remember like when my daughter was born, so I have a 2.5-year-old,
Yeah.
and he was, much farther along. And he was the one who was telling me, hey, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be okay. It's the best thing that's ever happened to you. And he was right. And the thing that I think I spoke to most, with Fred was about our daughters. And so for me, it's just really, I'm in shock.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, that town hall that they had, I don't know who he is, but I've seen
Sure.
him. That town hall that CNN had last week, he stood up and asked a very poignant question directly to the Senator Marco Rubio, about his excuse me,
You
his
okay there?
position. Yeah,
Yeah.
about his position, and it's fascinating to see that all of a sudden where people all of a sudden find themselves, with this situation. Excuse me. So my heart goes out to Mr. Gutenberg. Excuse me. And as far as we're all trying to figure out what can we do to help, our community. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, we have a doctor out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
That very, very rarely happens to me, but
Okay.
I'm a little bit kind of, it's taken a toll on me a bit, this whole thing.
It's taken a toll on everyone.
know.
This is our community.
And these kids have been so inspiring.
And I think, the question is like, what can we do? It's not what can we do legally. It's more, I think more apt is the question is what can we do to effectuate the kind of change that's needed in our gun laws, and not taking away guns, but more, reasonable restrictions that, even, any gun enthusiast can agree on. At the end of the day, people who are mentally ill shouldn't have access to assault-style weapons or semi-automatic weapons, and we need to make these changes. And when you think about it, Florida, who has some of the laxest gun laws in the United States, we are now home, unfortunately, to 3 mass shooting events over the last couple of years, including Orlando, the Fort Lauderdale airport, and now the high school. And I think, we're probably at this point more affected than any other area, and we need to do something about it. We need to make some changes. And I think the biggest thing that we can all do is just to really keep talking about it. But, I said to you before the show, the problem is it's February, and it's not October or September. And, I just hope that we can just keep this pressure on as a community and as a country on our politicians to, do the right thing here. And I think I read that Governor Scott, for example, is taking lead here and is really talking, I think for the first time, about making the kind of changes, or at least putting us down that road to the kind of changes that can help avoid future tragedies.
I mean, I think that I know that when I was 16 and 17 years old, I didn't have this understanding of the way that government works or a midterm election and these types of things. And so the fact that these kids are unfortunately, have been thrown right into it to understand it, that I know you say it's only February, but I don't know what they used to do. I can't even think right now, because I'm trying to make sure I breathe through everything.
Yeah.
Is that what I've been using for information, although there's many ways to get information, is Twitter. And Twitter, because you can follow these kids, and these kids are being reached out to all around the world, all around the country, and they repost and they repost. And so you can get a lot of information out to a lot of people very quickly. And so that's why I believe that it's going to sustain itself.
Yeah, and
it's because even once the news media goes away, there's still this.
And that's it. And that's what I think. That's what really gives me optimism that there are going to be changes made, because I feel like, really for the first time, these kids. I mean, it's always been kids that have really brought about significant change. If you go back to Vietnam,
Sure.
the protests, and I mean, those were kids.
And the civil rights and everything.
All the civil rights stuff. But now they're able to really, that message, the megaphone is much bigger. I mean, the megaphone of social media, the social media influencers that can really bring about the kind of change that we're talking about that can save lives in the future.
Mm-hmm. So we're kind of talking about two different things here in sense of what can we do. We're still in a mourning, grieving process of what can we do. And there's so many, I was just sharing with David that, I'm a huge avid soccer fan, and one of the girls that passed was a big soccer fan. I played soccer at Coral Springs High School. And there's a big game happening next week in Orlando with the U.S. women's national team. They're playing against England and France and Germany. And somehow they reached out through Twitter. One of the girls reached out to the team. The team responded. They invited the family up, and I believe they've invited the Stoneman Douglas team up, as well as the club team of Parkland, the traveling team. I was on a traveling team as well, because then you can go outside of your own city if you kind of play a little bit better than the next person. So I'm reaching out to the school as well myself to see if there's anything I can do to help with those girls getting up there, whether it's gas money or whatever it is. So that's one of the ways that we can help. Last night, being a part of the fundraiser. But then the other half of that is understanding what's going on at the elections,
Sure.
what's going on at the political level, at the city level, the state level, however that works. And so it's twofold of what we can do.
And I think, as I think about it, I never imagined that I'd be on your radio show discussing, issues like this. And, I think for most of us, or at least for me, there's the recognition that if we want to make change, we can't stay silent anymore. And I think as a country, we've really been silent. I mean, unfortunately, these massacres have been going on for quite some time. And this is, yet just another example of our country's failing to deal with gun laws. And then also, I think, really mental health and the treatment of mental health. And, one of the things, that I think about is like, okay, if someone has cancer, we give them medical treatment and we have empathy for them. If they have heart disease, the same thing. In fact, if somebody has cancer because they smoke cigarettes, which is really largely self-inflicted, and it says poison on the box, don't do it, and people do it, and then they get cancer, we still feel sorry for them and we treat their disease.
Right.
But yet, when somebody's mentally ill, like this young man, we're failing. We're not there for this kid. And the problem is, we're not there for him despite what looks or appears to be years of warning signs. I mean, not just warning signs, like, okay, this kid has got serious mental health issues and they were never addressed in a meaningful way.
And that's a systematic problem.
Right. So I think it's really, this event is really, clearly the intersection point of those two issues. It's mental health and it's reasonable gun restrictions. And again, not saying and not advocating for taking away people's guns. That's not what we're talking about. But at the end of the day, to go hunting, nobody needs an assault-style weapon. And to protect your home, you don't really need an assault-style weapon. And I think that those are the issues.
You know, we're going to take a little commercial break, but I wanted to mention that today I looked up the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School website. And I implore you to go to it, because on the first page or the second page, they're saying, you know, they've been getting so many phone calls and so many even written letters that it can be very, very overwhelming for them to manage, as they're still trying to do this tier rollout of the students going back to the school. But they asked for three things. Is that if you wanted to have a banner made to hang in the school or hang on the outside of the school, you know, representing your business or your family or whatever, you know, giving, you know, kind messages, they're open to having banners. Number two, there's a GoFundMe account for the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, so you can look it up on GoFundMe. And then number three, they just said hashtag on social media, anything that you post with MSD, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Strong. So that's, I just wanted to share with that you can go to the website, and there's a really nice message from the principal there as well. And so I think
really
that
cool.
I think that the message is very heartfelt for the principal there, and so it's not trivial. We still continue to give our thoughts and prayers, because one of the girls that was injured left the hospital, I believe last I don't know, Thursday or so, something like that, and then they did a news conference today with the doctors and with the first responder paramedic, and the mother went on and on at how she sensed and felt. I know there's been a big controversy over, you know, thoughts and prayers, that we don't need your thoughts and prayers to the legislators, but she said she sensed the thoughts and prayers, and she said it was super, super important. So we do continue to send our thoughts and prayers.
I want to add to that. I was in church with my family a couple weekends ago, and our pastor, Bill Mitchell, was talking exactly about that issue and that controversy regarding thoughts and prayers. And I think his point was that we need thoughts and prayers and action.
And action.
Both. It's, you know, thoughts and prayers aren't going to do it, certainly not alone, but it's thoughts and prayers coupled with action that can really make a difference.
Well, especially since the people that you know, where the controversy has come are the people that manage the action, you know, when the legislative and the bills and those types of things. And that's why it's been frustrating for people to not see the action coupled with it. You know, right. The action I can do is go to the voting box and raise awareness.
Well, this today, you know, is action.
Yes, this
right?
is the action, is just for raising it. Yeah. And so I also read one of these girls' posts as well, and she says, it's really fun to drive a NASCAR car on the road, but we're not allowed to do it. You know what I mean? Because it just would be dangerous. And that's kind of the argument that she had with the ARs. A lot of people want to have these guns because they're really fun to shoot. But what's the point? What fruit do they bear?
Well, we're not allowed to have other weapons of modern warfare. For example, I can't own a tank. I can't own my own rocket launcher. There's all sorts of restrictions on military-grade weapons, and this really is a military-grade weapon. I think it's Congressman Mast, who served time in Afghanistan. He wrote an op-ed piece in the New York Times, and he made exactly these points. It's like, look, this particular weapon, the AR-15, is a facsimile of the best killing machine the Army has ever given to its soldiers. And yes, in modern warfare, that's exactly what you need. But there's really no application for it here in our community, and I think that's the difference.
Yeah. And the young boy that I spoke with last night, that was the son of the owner of Frank and Dino's, I said, how you doing? And, you know, he's a little worn out because he's been doing a lot of publicity and doing a lot of, you know, because of the community and stuff, and promote and the event and putting it together. And they need some rest. So, you know, like anything in life, in order to continue the charge, and, you know, it's important. So I also pray for rejuvenation for these kids that are taking this action, that they can reacclimate and refocus. So we're going to be here to support you. And so we're going to take a quick commercial. David, we didn't even plan this conversation, you know, but, you know, I'm glad that I was able to have this conversation with you.
It's a much more important conversation than me talking about myself.
Yeah, for sure. But we are going to come back and talk about it for a few minutes, just because it's really nice to see what you're doing with your practice in the community as well. And so we'll be right back with Community Connections.
Hi, I'm Mary Ellen Brinker, founder of the Brinker Education Initiative. We provide Hispanic students in South Florida who excel in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, financial support to achieve their educational goals. They are the youngest and fastest growing demographic in public schools, and 18 out of the 25 top best jobs in America are STEM-based. Give the gift of a college education at brinkereducationinitiative.org or contact us at 773-717-6828. That's 773-717-6828. When they succeed, we succeed. Our nation succeeds.
Are you looking to simplify, focus, and live a healthier, balanced lifestyle? Hi, I'm Jane Robinson, certified health coach and founder of Jane Robinson Creative Living Solutions. I can help you create a personalized, holistic plan through natural living, creative space solutions, and through a system of Nourish and Glow essential oils. I can guide and inspire you to create an authentic life full of vitality and joy. Contact me, Jane Robinson Creative Living Solutions, at 561-305-2317. That's 561-305-2317, or visit me at janelrobinson.com.
Could you be winning by not losing? Do you know that there are safe money strategies that can benefit you when the market goes up, yet protect you when the market goes down? Hi, my name is Sarah Finkelstein with Signature Advisory Group. I'll show you how you can have safety and opportunity on the same dollar at the same time. You know, most people know where to find safety, that's bank CDs, and most people know where to find opportunity, that's the stock market. But did you know that you can have both without putting your money at risk? I urge you to commit to your financial future. Make an appointment with me for a free consultation and get the life that you deserve.
You want to save time and not be in front of the computer, the dark room of the new photo generation. Let Mobile Portrait Pros come to you, offering business portraits, executive portraits, mobile headshots, actor headshots, and campaign headshots for political teams. Innovation at Mobile Portrait Pros serves Palm Beach County and beyond. Just call 866-443-0873. That's 866-443-0873. Headshots door to door.
If you've been injured in an accident and your health is the most important thing in the world to you, then we're here for you. My name's David Eltringham of the Eltringham Law Group, and we dream of a world with no accidents. But until then, we're here to help you.
Care, post-operative surgical care, and outpatient therapies. The Encore at Boca Raton accepts Medicare and other major insurances. Call 561-392-3000 or visit theencore@boca.com for more information today. The Encore at Boca Raton is a proud member of the Care Right Centers Network.
Thank you for listening to Community Connections with Norma G. We're the place where we talk about your business, a product, an idea, or a project to get the word out to our community. I'm your host, occupational therapist Norma Guerrero. Today we are sharing our passions while connecting with our community. Give us a call at 888-565-1470 and join our conversation. Don't forget to tune in every Monday night at 5 to 6 p.m. to join me, Norma G, and our guests to find out about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening in our community. Can't wait to see you there. Now let's rejoin the show. Be crazy. Welcome back to Community Connections, and I'm here with David Eltringham with the Eltringham Law Group, and their law firm is located here in East Boca Raton between Palmetto and Camino on Federal Highway, and they can be reached at www.eltlaw.com.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so, David, you know, we just had a nice conversation about current events, as we just spoke about, and so tell me a little bit about your law firm, and, you know, we've been doing this series of conversations about how you've kind of changed the philosophical, the case management approach to your clients in terms of this purple cow theory. When we met originally, you kind of told me about it, and I want to kind of, it's kind of like a inspirational way of kind of how you see your practice.
Okay. So this purple cow theory comes from Seth Godin, who's a popular blogger and author, and he does a TED Talk on it, and he's actually written a book called Purple Cow. And the gist of it is that in order to really successfully compete in a hyper-competitive marketplace like personal injury, you need to stand out You need to be unique to compete. And if you think about it, most of the personal injury law firms, or at least the ones that are more prominent and visible, they kind of all sound and talk the same. They're talking about how much money they can get you. They're talking about what they got past clients for their settlements, as if it had anything to do with what they might get somebody in the future. And there's just kind of, they have a certain look, feel, and quality. And in our practice, our tagline, our slogan is "Inspired to be different." And really, the measuring stick for us is, are we different? Are we offering injured victims a different way, a different approach, in my mind, a better way of doing it? And getting back to Seth Godin, he talks about this purple cow. And yeah, it's crazy. But the idea is you imagine yourself driving down a rural highway, say upstate Florida, through the fields of cows. And you're looking at the cows and you see brown cow, brown cow, brown cow, right?
Right.
What do?
You moo.
Yeah, well, you don't do anything because...
Right, you just kind of keep driving in your peripheral vision.
Right, you keep driving because that, as far as we know, cows are brown, and that's a normal cow, and there's nothing unique or different about those cows. So now, same roadway, you're driving down the roadway, you see brown cow, purple cow.
Okay.
What do?
You stop and turn.
Well, you stop, you get out of the car, you take pictures, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to send that, of course, you're going to immediately post that on Facebook, because you're going to be like, oh my God, there's a purple cow.
Right.
And the point is it's the reason it's because it's remarkable. And in business, we all need to think of ourselves as purple cows. If I want to compete, if I want to rise above the noise, so to speak, then I have to be a purple cow, and I have to be different. And everything we do as a firm is really different. Yeah, we're practicing personal injury. We're handling cases. But the way that we do it is really largely different from our competitors, and I think very unique in the space. So that's my purple cow theory.
And so if you were to surmise yourself a couple things, I know we talked about it the last time you were here, as far as this case management, this lighthouse theory, that you've kind of created this very organized, systematic system within your practice of how you approach cases. How would you consider yourself a purple cow?
Okay, I think the biggest thing that separates us from our competitors is that I'm not chasing dollars. Right away, I have the conversation. My clients come in, I say, look, I'm sorry about what you saw on TV. I'm sorry about the billboards and everything else. They're not mine. But they're all those things that you saw and heard are not true. So I've been doing this for a while, and I've never seen a client, not one, who got rich off their case. That really just doesn't happen. And the system's not set up to turn people into instant millionaires. This is not some type of lottery. The reality is, yeah, there's cases out there where there's 7-figure financial settlements or jury verdicts, but those cases are largely where there's catastrophic injuries, and the injuries are so severe and just...
Well, you have loss of limb, a paralysis, brain and head injury.
So I tell people, look, think of quadriplegic, who was obviously very, very unlucky that they were in that type of accident, but they were lucky enough to get hit by the FedEx truck. Because the number one thing in my mind that controls how much a case is potentially worth is the amount of available coverage. The reality is that, in my experience, 90 to 95% of the cases we see have coverage amounts on the at-fault driver of between zero, because some people drive around with no insurance, and $100,000. Yeah, and we get some where there's 250 in coverage and some where there's 5. But generally speaking, if you want to, as a rule of thumb, between 0 and 100, most cases fall within those coverage amounts. So the critical importance of insurance coverage, which obviously no attorney controls, is that typically becomes a ceiling on what a case can be worth. And, at least in our experience, if someone's going to get $100,000 to settle their case, what that generally means is that they've had a surgery, or a surgery is imminent. and that when they're done paying their medical bills, their the surgery and everything else, they're, as a rule of thumb, they're left with about a third of that gross recovery. So say they were one of the ones who got hit by somebody, had $100,000 in coverage, they need a surgery, and they have the surgery, then they're looking maybe...
Well, it's a split in thirds.
Yes, so doctors...
Your services, the hospital
doctors
services...
get a third, and again, this is ballpark. Doctors get a third, attorneys are going to get a third, and then the client ends up with a third. So this guy ends up with $35,000 or something like that. Now, the thing is, what I tell clients is like, look, regardless of who you are, whether you're wealthy, in between, or poor, 30 grand doesn't change anybody's life at all. But what does change somebody's life is if they focus on probably the most important thing in my mind, which is actually getting better from their injuries, healing, health and healing. If they make that commitment where that becomes the most important thing in the world to them, then what ends up happening is they get what I describe as a best possible medical outcome. They did everything they could to get better. They went to the right doctors. They were committed to their treatment. And that's going to give you best medical results.
And that's what I've always enjoyed speaking with you about, is because you tend to understand, because we do the same model in the rehab facilities or in the hospital, whatever, is that, we're encouraging people to focus on their medical health and their recovery.
So
and hear you talk like that, I always
and then here's the
enjoy it.
And here's the interesting thing that I found. The clients who, we call it the health first mindset, so we actually have a name for it. The clients who really embrace that health first mindset, not only do they do great medically, but those are the people that the insurance companies pay. Because at the end of the day, it's really simple. Insurance companies pay people who are A, hurt, and B, treat for their injuries. So if you're committed to your getting better, then you're going to treat for your injuries, you're going to do well medically, and then the insurance company is going to reward that behavior, and that's where they're going to pay the most. Again, they're not getting rich off of it, but that's where you're going to have the best of both worlds. You get the best medical, best financial. And then I find, on the other hand, the clients who are more prominently motivated by the financial end of it and not as committed to their medical treatment, they do awful.
Right.
They end up always being the ones who are the most unsatisfied, because the insurance companies do not reward that behavior. They don't pay for people who aren't really hurt. They don't pay for people who don't go to the doctor. And in fact, we have clients who are really hurt from time to time, but for whatever reasons, they refuse to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
They don't believe in traditional medical treatment. I've heard it all.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the insurance company, they don't care if you're hurt. They don't care if I show them, hey, this person's really hurt, if you don't go to the doctor.
Right. So it's always very important. So it's you're tell me again where your practice is located, and your firm, and the phone number and website.
Sure. We are here in East Boca Raton, and we are just a couple blocks south of Palmetto. And as you said, in between Palmetto and Camino, but we're closer to Palmetto, and we're at 233 South Federal Highway, Suite 105, and we're in the Boca Grande building. So people might know.
And that's Eltringham Law Group.
Correct.
And you can actually see the sign from Federal Highway on the west side,
Correct.
if I'm not mistaken, a little closer to Palmetto.
Well, there's
than
a big palm tree in front of it, and I've always wanted to cut that down, but I thought I would get in trouble.
Well, you have to call your city commissioner and ask him.
It's like, really? Did you put the palm tree right in front of my sign?
So, it's whether you have a slip and fall, whether you have a car accident, there's various reasons how you get injured. And sometimes it does require the hiring of an attorney to oversee getting compensation for your medical expenses, lost wages, etc. And so David Eltringham has been kind enough to come on here several times and share about his practice and his heart for that health first mindset. So if you in need of services, then give him a call.
Yeah, please.
But David, let's just continue to help and heal our community.
Yes,
whether
absolutely.
through my work, your work, and then obviously through
and I think
our personal work with
I think the thing is, more than anything, is just let's keep talking about it, and let's act. Let's pray, but let's act. I mean, I think that's the bottom line, and let's keep up the pressure until we get the change
there you
that
go.
we need.
Hashtag let's act.
Yeah.
So you'll be back in a couple weeks again.
Okay, great.
All right, we're looking forward to it. Enjoy your family and your daughter. Nice seeing you again.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with Dr. Zaki Moyenda.
Hi, I'm Mary Ellen Brinker, founder of the Brinker Education Initiative. We provide Hispanic students in South Florida who excel in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, financial support to achieve their educational goals. They are the youngest and fastest growing demographic in public schools, and 18 out of the 25 top best jobs in America are STEM-based. Give the gift of a college education at brinkereducationinitiative.org or contact us at 773-717-6828. That's 773-717-6828. When they succeed, we succeed. Our nation succeeds.
Are you looking to simplify, focus, and live a healthier, balanced lifestyle? Hi, I'm Jane Robinson, certified health coach and founder of Jane Robinson Creative Living Solutions. I can help you create a personalized, holistic plan through natural living, creative space solutions, and through a system of Nourish and Glow essential oils. I can guide and inspire you to create an authentic life full of vitality and joy. Contact me, Jane Robinson Creative Living Solutions, at 561-305-2317. That's 561-305-2317, or visit me at janelrobinson.com.
Winning by not losing. Do you know that there are safe money strategies that can benefit you when the market goes up, yet protect you when the market goes down? Hi, my name is Sarah Finkelstein with Signature Advisory Group. I'll show you how you can have safety and opportunity on the same dollar at the same time. You know, most people know where to find safety, that's bank CDs, and most people know where to find opportunity, that's the stock market. But did you know that you can have both without putting your money at risk? I urge you to commit to your financial future. Make an appointment with me for a free consultation and get the life that you deserve.
You want to save time and not be in front of the computer, the dark room of the new photo generation. Let Mobile Portrait Pros come to you, offering business portraits, executive portraits, mobile headshots, actor headshots, and campaign headshots for political teams. Innovation at Mobile Portrait Pros serves Palm Beach County and beyond. Just call 866-443-0873. That's 866-443-0873. Headshots door to door.
But until then, we're here to help you.
The Encore Boca Raton Rehabilitation and Nursing Center, formerly known as Whitehall Boca Raton, is a warm and close-knit subacute care and nursing community that has been serving the Tri-County area for over 35 years. Our patient-centered comprehensive nursing and rehabilitation programs include neurology, orthopedics, cardiac and pulmonary care, post-operative surgical care, and outpatient therapies. The Encore Boca Raton accepts Medicare and other major insurances. Call 561-392-3000 or visit theencore@boca.com for more information today. The Encore Boca Raton is a proud member of the Care Right Centers Network.
Thank you for listening to Community Connections with Norma G. We're the place where we talk about your business, a product, an idea, or a project to get the word out to our community. I'm your host, occupational therapist Norma Guerrero. Today we are sharing our passions while connecting with our community. Give us a call at 888-565-1470 and join our conversation. Don't forget to tune in every Monday night at 5 to 6 p.m. to join me, Norma G, and our guests to find out about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening in our community. Can't wait to see you there. Now let's rejoin the show. He's very nice to me. Welcome back to Community Connections. I am your host, Norma Guerrero, and you're listening to us live on 95.3 FM, 1470 AM, as well as on our iHeart radio station on 1470 AM WNN. We are also live streaming on Community Connections with Norma G on Facebook. And so my website is ccnormag.com, and you can find all kinds of information about the show there as well. And so I want to introduce Dr. Zaki Moyenda. Moyenda, that's correct. And he is a medical doctor, and he's a hospitalist with the Taskia Health Institute. He's the founder and chief medical officer. And so welcome to the show, Dr. Moyenda.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Good. And you've been invited here on behalf of the Encore Boca Raton, which is a skilled nursing and rehab facility located here in West Boca on Palmetto and Powerline. And they're at 7300. My gosh, I'm just completely blanking on their address all of a sudden. And I've known it for many, many years. 7300 Del Prado Circle South. And they are, their phone number is 561-392-3000, and they can be reached at theencore@boca.com. And so they are a rehab facility that provides skilled nursing, occupational physical therapy, and speech therapy services to patients that after they go to the hospital,
Yes.
and you potentially may discharge them, and they need some rehabilitation. And so
Yes.
you came in contact with Sergio Rodriguez, the
Yes.
marketing director. And so how did that come about?
Well, as you say, I work as a hospitalist here locally, and I've been doing so for 2 years now. And I'm looking to transition out of only hospitalist work and doing more outpatient work. I'm family medicine trained, so that's sort of what led me over there to meet Sergio. And so that's where we have it.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so define for me, what is a hospitalist versus a primary care practitioner or an internist?
Yeah, so the hospitalist, the term was sort of coined in the mid-90s, and it was set up for a physician who works primarily in the hospital. We like to say we're the primary care doctor of the hospital. So typically, patients will have their own primary care doctor in the outpatient setting.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, those same physicians don't have time to see their patients in the hospital. So a whole new field of medicine was created in the mid-90s to create efficiencies and coordination of care for patients who leave their primary care doctor. So ideally, the patients will come to the hospital for whatever reason. A person like myself, a hospitalist, will take care of them in the hospital and give a good discharge summary and send them back to their primary care doctor with instructions of what took place, et cetera, how long they were in the hospital, what they were treated for, and then we give them a follow-up appointment back to their primary care provider.
And so you said you're looking to transition into outpatient?
Yes.
And how does that work?
Well, see, it's like, in healthcare is like a big labyrinth. It's a maze of everything, and it also goes full circle. So in the past, physicians who saw their patients in the office would also follow them in the hospital. So the patients would have a continuity of care throughout whatever medium they found themselves in. So I find that trend is coming back because primary care doctors are losing the information that the profession was supposed to give to them. So what we would like to do is create that model again where we have our patients in the outpatient setting, and when they get admitted to the hospital, we don't relinquish that relationship. So we'll follow them. It's like the traditional practice site. So
is that kind of getting away from the hospitalist then?
Yes and no. It's getting away from it in the traditional sense that that's all that we do. We would.
Oh, okay.
So we have that continuity across the spectrum. We don't give it up. And in the case of where if there's someone already identified with a PCP, then we naturally give them back to their PCP.
And how long have you been a doctor, Dr. Moyenda?
I finished medical school in 2010. I finished residency in 2015. So.
And where did you do your medical school and residency?
Medical school at Antigua, and American University of Antigua.
In the Caribbean?
In the Caribbean, yes.
Oh.
And
how you kept your tan?
Yes. And I did my residency at Meharry, Nashville, Tennessee, Meharry Medical College. Yes.
Very interesting. And so then you somehow ended up migrating down to South Florida.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Where were you raised?
Well, raised in Rockford, Illinois. My family's from Jamaica originally, so I came here when I was 3 and a half in a place called Rockford, Illinois, which is about 80 miles northwest of Chicago. After high school in '87, folks moved down to Miami. So South Florida has been the base since the late '80s. And of course, I went off to undergrad at Florida State and went to graduate school in Temple and Philadelphia. So
what a wide diversification.
Geographically, I'm as diverse as they come.
And I say that I was raised here in Coral Springs, and when I had the opportunity to now transition from a sophomore to a junior in college, I could have gone to University of Florida, but there was a really long waiting list, so I ended up going to San Jose State in California, and just experiencing something taking me out of my complete comfort zone.
Right.
Really makes you grow in a different way and meet different peoples and people in the way they think. And so I think it's awesome that you experience a wide variety of cultures and experiences.
Yeah, that's enormously useful dealing in medicine, especially hospital medicine, because the flow of patients coming in to the hospital are diverse. There's no control over it. Everyone gets sick in various ways. So the ability to connect with people across different cultures, different backgrounds,
There's so many people.
Yes.
So many. I looked up what Tazkia means, and
Yes.
it means purification of self.
Yes.
And so you use that term to kind of for the name of your practice.
Yes.
What made you choose that?
Well, thanks for asking that question, because a lot of thought went into that. When people get sick, anyone gets sick, you feel like your whole world is just crumbling before you, and it's like that old adage, if you have your health, you have everything. And so when
This is what the attorney was just talking about.
it's so true. It's absolutely true. So when we approach the healing process, we take into consideration that we're dealing with not just a disease, we're dealing with a human being who has bills, he or she has problems to deal with. And we found that when we talk to our patients, we usually start with the social history. A lot of times the textbooks tell us what's the main reason that
What's
brought
your
you.
symptoms?
Yeah, what's your chief
versus
complaint?
Where do you live?
Where do you live? Who lives at home with you? Are you working? Those type of things gets the patient to open up more, and it builds the rapport and the trust. Because ultimately, if the patients trust you, they'll follow the treatment plan and they get better. And to the contrary, if they don't, then we have a big problem. So
Yeah. They give me another doctor.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So we try to take, the process of that purification process, that if you're thinking good thoughts, you're eating good food, you're going to feel better. All these things participating, you're getting better, not just medications, not just physically coming to the hospital and getting blood drawn. There's a whole, a whole host of things that goes into play to getting someone feeling better.
Oh, well, that's really great. Yeah, I loved it when I looked it up, and I realized that's what the translation meant.
Yes.
And when people are sick, there's something toxic happening
Exactly.
potentially in the body.
Yes.
And so you're trying to, if you will, remove that infection or remove that whatever
Yes.
ailment, which is a purification in a sense.
Exactly.
And so that's really, really nice.
Yes.
And so, we were talking a lot about at the top of the hour this incident that happened at Stoneman Douglas here
Yes.
in South Florida just shy of 2 weeks ago. And you mentioned that you were in one of the hospitals when that all went down. Can you
Yes.
share a little bit about your experience?
Yes, it was actually around 2:30. Now we're heading down to the emergency room to receive an admission, which is part of the job. And we noticed that the CEO of the hospital and lots of other officials were in the emergency department, which is quite unusual. And right away, after asking what happened, they said, there had been a shooting.
Which hospital was this?
Broward Health, Coral Springs.
Okay.
And it's not a trauma. Out of the 4 hospitals, 2 of them are trauma. 4 hospitals in the district, 2 of them are trauma related. This one is not. But nevertheless, the hospital was on a code green, which for mass casualties. Thankfully, no patients came there. We had no opportunities.
And that's because I know Coral Springs and Parkland so well, and I
Yeah.
was very confused
Right.
when I started watching the news.
Yes.
Is why they were all getting brought to sample in 95
Yes.
versus Coral Springs Medical Center, which is I know is 3 minutes away versus 11 minutes
Exactly.
away.
Right. The capacity to handle trauma is not there at the Coral Springs location or the Imperial Point. So the Broward General, the main hospital.
That's
and
in Fort Lauderdale.
Exactly. And then Broward North, as you mentioned here at 95 and Sample.
So those are the trauma centers.
Exactly.
Good to know.
Yes.
Good to know. So I guess when there's incidents that happen just on the regular in West Coral Springs or wherever, Margate, they don't go to Coral Springs. They would take them there over
Right.
to because of the trauma.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
I didn't know if it was just because there was too many going to Coral Springs and that's why those ended up.
No, I believe we had 1 patient that was treated for minor injuries.
And what about Northwest? The one on Sample and 441, that hospital.
Northwest is also a community hospital. They're not trauma-based as well. They're about maybe 5 miles or less from Coral Springs.
Right.
Right.
But I noticed they weren't going there either.
No.
So
no. The
that's why
closest one was Broward Health, North Broward.
Right,
Yes.
right. Interesting.
Yes.
Well, you were ready on standby if need be.
Yes.
And you come from Chicago, you said. You were raised in Chicago. And I know that a lot of people, when they talk about this issue of guns and violence and crime, not so much crime, but like gun crime, that Chicago gets brought up a lot.
Yes.
You know, I don't want to get too complex and deep into the issue, but what are your thoughts on this whole thing in terms of guns and type of thing? If you have a thought, or that you feel comfortable sharing.
You know, it's difficult in this day and age not to have any thoughts.
Yes.
Because when children, are getting, essentially slaughtered in school, it's hard to not have a thought. Where the more questions than answers, I would imagine at this time. But I would say the prevalence of too much guns, I think, is my stance on it. The accessibility is just out of control. I heard a few people mention the mental health component. I have mixed feelings on that because I think the mental health component in and of itself, outside of guns, is quite neglected.
Right, just take away
the guns.
The gun situation.
Yes, the behavioral health component of healthcare is just very, very neglected. In too much medicines, underdiagnoses of things, PTSD from all types of trauma. But I think the gun issue on top of the economic conditions, as well as the behavioral health, is just a bad mix. And I think personally, the solution lays in getting to those those things of not having enough opportunities. In this case,
in Chicago, is that what you're talking about?
Exactly, in the inner cities. Right.
I tell you though, you talk to someone for 5 minutes and you find 4 more layers to the issue. It's very complicated.
It is very complicated.
But I think it's possible, that they can, 'cause even look at what's happening with the police the law enforcement, the holes, the cracks in the situation that have revealed itself, that potentially could have prevented it. Right. That system needs to be relooked at. And then you have your socioeconomic system, job creation, all those things. And so it all trickles together.
Yes.
All these things, but certainly, accessibility to so much accessibility.
Absolutely.
And not enough, so it's almost like there's tons of cars everywhere, but I still have to, pass a test. I mean, there's got to be a way that you can't just get access to these things.
Absolutely.
So easily. So
yeah, 30 years ago when I was in high school, I can't think of anyone who possessed a gun in our high school.
In Chicago.
In Chicago, or outside of Chicago and Rockford. There were like maybe a handful of students we knew were, you would say, misfits. And they were literally, you can name, point them out on one hand. Maybe a BB gun or something. People went hunting for whatever reason. But these type of machines is unheard of, So definitely accessibility is out of control.
It's incredible. So when I was reading your bio, thank you for answering that question. When I was reading your bio, Dr. Mender, we have a couple more minutes.
Sure.
Is you initially started in business administration. What brought you into medicine?
Well, the thing is, I tried to sneak my way in because I actually have an MBA, but I majored in health administration. That was sort of my cheap way of being in medicine without doing the real thing.
Right. So, it's still a business.
Right. But no, I worked real hard. I went to Temple, as you know, Temple in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is known for the first everything healthcare, first nursing school, first medical school, etc. So I worked for 8 years in Medicaid, HMO, in the business side of healthcare, but it wasn't quite what I really, really wanted to do.
And then you all of a sudden picked up medical school.
Right.
The Tuskegee Health Institute, what is the phone number if someone wanted to reach out to you?
Sure,
Dr.
it's
Moyenda?
954.
You do it right into the camera.
954-774-1414. And essentially, the Tuskegee Health Institute is a small direct pay kind of a concierge medicine and practice. So we see patients right at this time who don't have insurance, but are able to afford basic medical care.
Yes. Well, it's been a pleasure to meet you. I'm glad that you took that time
here
to walk into the Encore Boca Raton and meet Sergio, and now you know and that there's a facility available there.
Yes.
To refer patients for rehab. And so, what can I say? It's been a heavy week, and it continues to be so. Have a great week, everyone, and let's continue to act and to help support our community and the nation at large in trying to address some of these issues. Thank you, Dr. Mayenda, for being here and sharing with us about your practice and your specialty.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure
be
to meet you. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next week.
If you've been injured in an accident and you believe that your health is the most important thing in the world to you, then we're here to help you. My name's David Eltringham of the Eltringham Law Group. And at ELG, everything that we do is about helping our clients to restore their health and heal from their injuries. I believe that if you don't have your health, you don't have anything, and all the money in the world doesn't matter. So if you've been injured and you want a law firm that actually cares about you, getting you better, and then getting you the financial justice that you deserve, we're the right firm for you. At ELG, we dream of a world with no accidents, but until then, we're here to help you.
The Encore at Boca Raton Rehabilitation and Nursing Center, formerly known as Whitehall Boca Raton, is a warm and close-knit subacute care and nursing community that has been serving the Tri-County area for over 35 years. The Encore Boca Raton's stellar rehabilitation program significantly enriches the health and well-being of patients by delivering specialized therapies to return you rapidly back on your feet. Our patient-centered comprehensive nursing and rehabilitation programs include neurology, orthopedics, cardiac and pulmonary care, post-operative surgical care, and outpatient therapies. With spacious therapy gyms, elegant dining, beautiful private and semi-private suites, and an array of comfort-enhancing services and amenities, patients enjoy high-caliber, proactive care in an encouraging and vibrant setting. The Encore at Boca Raton accepts Medicare and other major insurances. Located on West Palmetto and Powerline, call 561-392-3000 to schedule your personal tour. That's 561-392-3000, or visit theencoreatboca.com for more information today. The Encore at Boca Raton is a proud member of the Care Right Centers Network.
You've been listening to Community Connections with Norma G. We will be back next Monday from 5 to 6 p.m. with new guests to share about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening in our community. Did you hear something you liked today on our show? Please contact me, Norma G, at 954-802-2015 or email me at ccnormag@gmail.com. I look forward to helping you expand your business, project, or idea and connect with our community.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were